It's something that I've done from very early on in my career. Anything from suicide attempts to self-harm, mastectomy cover-ups, even abusive relationships that have caused scarring. It's always been something that people have asked me to do, and I've always really enjoyed doing it. It's a really rewarding part of my job. The first scar that I covered as a tattooer was actually for a really close friend of mine who had a suicide attempt on her wrist, and that was the first experience that I'd had doing that, and it was such a rewarding experience. It brought about such a lot of confidence in her, so it's always been something that I've been really drawn to, helping people through that healing process really. People are reclaiming their body, you know, they're reclaiming a part of themselves that were lost. It's healing something really traumatic. You know, whether that's something that's been caused, some harm that they've caused themselves, or something that they've had, you know, if they've had a part of their body mutilated or cut off. It's very special to be chosen to be part of that healing process for people. You know, for some people, they've never even shown anyone the scar, you know, like there's a lady that I tattooed who never even showed her boyfriend the scars that she had on her arms. You know, she wouldn't go on holiday, she'd always wear a t-shirt, so, you know, even to show me is a huge, it's a huge step in their healing process. It's interesting because you have to be very sensitive, obviously, to the scar tissue, but also to the trauma that the person has been through. So besides the emotional sensitivity that you have to be prepared for, there's also a technical aspect to covering the scars with a tattoo. Some of the scars are very delicate skin, so obviously you have to go quite gently over that. Some of the scars are quite tough. Some scars are also very bumpy, so, you know, not only do you have to be quite sensitive about how you tattoo them, but you also have to be sensitive about what you put over them. You know, if you imagine that you've got a bumpy raised scar and you put a straight line over it, then you're going to draw more attention to that scar. Whereas if you can work with how raised or dented the scar is, if you work that into the design somehow so that it hides it and it blends it into the skin, then you get a much more successful result. I try and get people in as quickly as I can for something as important as this. Some projects can get completed in one day, but some of the bigger projects could even really take a year. You have to let the tattoo heal completely before you work back on that area again, and especially with scar tissue, can sometimes take a little bit longer. It can be quite sensitive, so the healing process in between sessions can be a little bit longer. I think very often when people come to me, they want to get the tattoo as a celebration that they've survived. You know, it's a memento for them of how strong they have been through some sort of adversity. So Edwina's project was a lumpectomy removal from her breast. She had triple negative cancer, and she went through chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and she had the lump removed. Edwina wanted to have a sunflower tattooed over her scar as a reminder to herself of how strong she was and how lucky she was to come through. But it was also a memory for a really close friend of hers who wasn't so lucky, who didn't survive the battle. I think that covering over scars with tattoos is something that a lot of people would never have thought of or wouldn't really expect. But I think that the healing side of tattoos is a really important, really beautiful side of tattooing. I really wanted to inspire people to make positive change with their bodies. I always wanted to be a tattooer, even from when I was a teenager. It's the only job I've ever done and it's my dream job.